you ever made a quilt top and then hated it? Today I'm going to show you my favorite method for using a seam ripper. The first thing we are going to do is take a look at what a seam ripper is. So I have two different ones. I have this one, and it just opens up, and then it has the little blade there inside, and then the point end and a blunt end. And then I also have this one. This is my very fancy one that I got at a quilt show. And you just take it out and flip it around. And this one's a little different. It has the point, and then here on the end it has a little ball. And then once again the blade is there inside. So what you are going to do, I'm going to use the smaller one for this demonstration because it's the more basic one. So there's a couple ways that you can seam rip a seam. And when I first started quilting, let me find a darker fabric because it'll be easier to see. When I first started quilting, I always thought you just go in, you grab the thread, and then you pick your way along the entire seam like that and pull the thread out, and you just keep going and going. Which that way works, but it can be a little slow, as you can see, because sometimes you don't always get right under that thread, and it's more likely that you'll catch your fabric. So the faster way, and the way that I like to do it now, you start on an edge, and this one I already got started. So let me just flip it around to the other side so I can show you how to start it. So what you do, you take your seam, and here you can see I sewed all the way to the edge, and then you are going to go like we did in the first method, and just pick a few threads out, oops, to open up that seam. See there's a little starting point, ooh, focus, and then you take it like this. So if you have a little ball on the bottom, that part, oops, little ball on the bottom, the blunt part goes on the bottom, and then the spiky part goes on the top. And then what you do, this is how I hold it. I put my finger here and kind of hold it kind of like a pin, and then you pinch. I like to pinch the seam, and then you just give it a little push, and then it starts cutting through the threads. And then again you just work your way down. I like to hold it like this, again up against my hand, and I'm right-handed, so this is how I do it because I'm right-handed. And then you pinch the seam and you just give it a little push, and you push. You can hear the thread, and you just go. And then every now and then I like to stop because you'll get a lot of fuzz, and so I like to stop and kind of get that out of there. Check the seam, and then again you just go put that bottom part in, and then just keep pushing. When you get to a junction, sometimes I like to slow down just to be careful that I don't catch one of these other secondary seams, but then you just keep going and you rip. As you can see, it goes a lot faster than trying to pick out each individual stitch. You do still have to be careful because sometimes I'll be going along, and then that point will go through the grain of the fabric, and so you just need to be aware that that might happen and catch it, because on more than one occasion I have just been seam ripping away, and then I rip a hole in my fabric, and it adds so much more time to your project. But this is how. That's just a quick and relatively easy way to seam rip a seam. When you're done, you will have lots of little threads, and so what I like to do is go with a lint roller and kind of pick up all that extra fluff that ends up all over everything. But once you get everything ripped, you can piece your project back together, and you are done. I hope this helped. Thanks.